what exactly is running through the mind of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un? How will this latest development affect China's position? Live in the studio with me to provide us a more in-depth look into this situation is Kim Tae, chair professor at Seoul-based Dongguk University. He has also served as the president of Korea Institute for National Unification. Professor Kim, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hi, good evening.
Now, the launch comes on the heels of a fourth nuclear test, which, of course, North Korea is still on the receiving end of an international condemnation. In fact, the UN Security Council had been in the works of designing a series of sanctions, a package of sanctions for North Korea for its nuclear test. It makes us wonder, what is North Korean leader thinking in carrying out such a provocation in launching a rocket launch defying international condemnation?
Okay, you are actually asking why North Korea is developing the nuclear capability. Since nuclear weapon and delivery vehicles, the missiles are going together, it is the same package. Well, basically, North Korea believes nuclear capability is the eventual means to protect the survivability of their own system and regime. So that's why having the nuclear capability and making their possession of nuclear weapons as a status quo is critical, vital interest to them. But more specifically speaking, North Korea has in mind the variety of effects emanated from the nuclear weapons. Domestically, internally, nuclear weapon is a symbol of prestige for the young leader and legitimizing its own control base. Toward the U.S., it makes North Korea becoming equalized with the United States, at least on the negotiation table. This is the political, the purpose. Toward the South Korea, a nuclear weapon, so-called asymmetric capability, is the best convenient tool to dominate inter-Korean relations and to overpower the economically superior South Korea. So they have all these kind of effects in mind.
Right, so what you're saying is that this missile launch, I suppose, cannot be seen as an independent act, but it's collectively, it's an advancement of its nuclear weapons, I suppose.
Right, exactly.
Now, so Seoul and Washington, as our Kim Jong reported, is actually beginning or has begun talks on THAAD, on bringing the THAAD system here on the peninsula. Now, how will the introduction of this U.S.'s anti-missile defense system change the geopolitical landscape in this region?
Well, for defense of South Korea, yes, it is meaningful. It has a meaningful impact. When we talk about how to deter North Korean nuclear threat, we have to see a larger picture. For example, we need the capability in 4 stages, such as preemption, and defense, and protection, and retaliation. So the THAAD system, if deployed here, will strengthen our defense system. So far, we have only a single-layer defense system. You know already, we have a PAC-2 missiles. It can intercept the enemy missiles at the altitude of 15 to 20 kilometers. But by introducing THAAD missiles, at least we can try twice. But we have also dilemma here. The first dilemma is defense itself is not sufficient enough. Well, definitely, we need more capability to retaliate and to preempt North Korea. And also another dilemma is that it can complicate the situation in this region. So it will deteriorate our relations with China while prompting the improvement of our relations with Japan, and also it will deepen the confrontation between the China and the U.S., etc., etc.
Right, a series of events there. Now, let's talk about China. China has so far been reluctant, to say the least, of joining in on South Korean, U.S.'s and other international partners' efforts to toughen sanctions on North Korea. Now, first, will North Korea's rocket launch change or impact China's stance? Let me ask you that first.
Yeah, that's a very difficult question, but we have to think about the 2 different phases of China, 2 different schools in China, within China. So-called the pragmatic school in China regards North Korea as a diplomatic burden, an economic burden, but while the conservative schools regard North Korea still as the only ally. So they believe they cannot abandon North Korea in any situation. So this is the basic background why China so far has hesitated to jump in a stronger sanction against North Korea. So yes, you can say the consecutive provocations by North Korea, nuclear test, and this time rocket launching, will further prompt the Chinese anger. But still, China has a dual stance, particularly when we think about China's confrontation with the U.S. in the Southeast Sea and with Japan. And China, I think, will continue to protect. It's the only military ally in North Korea. So that's why, basically, I believe, of course, there should be some ups and downs, but basically, China's dual stance will go on.
But now let me add a layer to that. You mentioned China and U.S. confrontation, but so Seoul and Washington's decision to bring about this U.S. anti-missile defense system on the Korean Peninsula, that will have an impact on China's position, will that not?
Oh, yes, of course. Basically, China perceives North Korea's nuclear game as a game between China and the U.S. The U.S. is strengthening an alliance with Japan and South Korea. So China believes it as an encirclement against China. So, that's why any military actions on the framework of alliance between South Korea and the United States, well, China will try to perceive it as a game against China. So this is unavoidable on this situation. As you know, we have now so-called new neo-Cold War structure emerging in this region. So this kind of perception is inevitable. That's our dilemma situation, yes.
Right, we're a very difficult situation that we're finding in the Northeast Asian region. Now, from about 3 hours, less than 3 hours from now, the UN Security Council is convening an emergency meeting to address this North Korea's latest rocket or missile launch. Now, what kind of sanctions do we expect from the UNSC? I mean, does the Security Council even have any cards left to sanction North Korea?
That's also a very difficult question too, you know. Well, so far the UN Security Council has adopted 5 resolutions plus a chairperson's statement against the North Korea since 2006. You know. So it already includes all variety of sanction measures in those resolutions. Right. But still, we hope and we want this time a new, additional resolution, a lot different, qualitatively, a lot different from the previous one. For example, South Korea may want a prohibition of entry of all North Korean vessels in the harbors of member states of United Nations, and also much far encompassing, you know, the financial sanctions against North Korea. I don't know whether this type of resolution will be adopted or not, but still the key is how deeply and how positively China will jump into the new resolution.
Right, so I suppose what we can do to North Korea to stop any further provocations or to really, you know, put a hold to that China factor is absolutely critical there.
That's right.
Now, I want you to give us a prediction on the unpredictable North Korea. So what is that regime's course of action from here on? What's its next move?
We have to know, you know, what the nuclear weapon development schedule he has in his mind, you know. But I think I can imagine what kind of the schedule he has, you know. He already achieved the atomic bomb capability, and probably he may have achieved boosted fission bomb capability through the first nuclear test 1 month ago. And then now North Korea is approaching the hydrogen bomb capability, you know. So Kim Jong definitely want the hydrogen bomb capability, and then he will demonstrate delivery vehicle capabilities, you know. That's the reason why they launched the long-range rocket like this, you know. After that, when they think North Korea's possession of nuclear weapon is now recognized as a status quo by the international community, then North Korea will declare a moratorium. They will stop nuclear weapons and then try to make the weapons of their nuclear, the possession of their nuclear weapons as a new fait accompli. You know. So that means North Korea will continue nuclear tests and launching of missiles for the time being. At least they achieve their old schedules in mind.
Right. So we'll have to wait and see how the UNSC or the global community together can put a stop to that. But as of now, it looks like Kim Jong is on schedule with his ambitions.
Well, you are asking me to find out a silver bullet or a cure-all panacea. North Korea has a die-hard nuclear ambition, and they pledges, and again they will not give up the nuclear weapons. So theoretically speaking, for the time being, I don't see any special ways to stop the nuclear weapons. Nevertheless, if we adopt very strong resolution once again, and China join it by cutting off their trade with North Korea and stop the supply of oil and food in North Korea, and then all member states of the UN participate in cutting off the channel of the so-called hard currencies. And then eventually threatening the survivability of North Korean regime itself. Then North Korea may succumb to that, but that's very difficult to achieve. You know.
Professor Kim Tae, currently chair professor and former president of Korea Institute for National Unification, thank you indeed for sharing your insights with us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.